We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio, News Talk 1180, 1230 KGEO, and 1410 KERI. Our guests for the full hour, Jeff Taylor from Save Bakersfield Committee and Marvin Dean from Kern Supporters for High Speed Rail. Marv, before the break, I had a question for you about why are states running from this? They're not walking, they're running away from this.
Right, but you know what, I'm going to say that. I'm going to hit that straight on. And really, if you look at it, those states that walked away from this thing, when they were supported, they had Democratic governors. After those elections, those were Republican governors. Those Republicans, we can go with two, Florida and Ohio. When they got in, as you know, and you asked the question earlier, I think Clay asked the question, why does it seem like it's partisans that the Democrats are for and the Republicans are opposed? And as you know, in this valley, people are taking pledges and running for office that they oppose high-speed rail.
Right.
And one thing I take the courage about Fresno, she is a Republican. The mayor of Fresno is Republican, and she's standing up probably against a lot of opposition for her own party.
You bet.
As one of the champions, and that's why the project started there. So I think she's taking care of her people from what's not a political standpoint. So the answer to your question, Clay, is that basically it's politics. The Republicans don't want the money, and then we came as a benefit. Because we picked up some extra money from Florida, as you remember,
yes,
that they turned away. So, again, I don't understand it. Some people think, I don't want to get into that because I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, but some people think that they don't want to see use this as a tool to keep the president from getting reelected.
Oh, that's baloney.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's whether it's true or not, that some people believe that.
So, Jeff, you're not for that position?
I think that's ridiculous.
Well,
I think that the people that are opposed to this project are fiscally responsible. And I believe that the people that are opposed to this project do not want to destroy existing businesses and jobs just to create new jobs that are dependent on government projects. I think that, Mayor Swearingen is a strong mayor up there in Fresno. I'm sure she's a nice lady. I've never met her. But if all the other city council members up there decided to oppose this project, she could veto it. I thank God that we're in a city where we don't have that strong mayor system, because that's not, to me, that's not a form of government. That's like a kingdom. And so we're just fiscally responsible. We don't want to go more in debt. We're $15 billion in debt here in California. We don't need to go another $68 billion in debt.
You know, Jeff, one of my concerns is the high-speed rail moves people, but logistically, Bakersfield and the Central Valley is a trucking area where you do storage of things. Then we move equipment, we move supplies from point A to point B.
That's right.
And it seems to me that investing in freeways and roads would make a lot more sense, because it would help our economy more than having high-speed rail that's going to move a few people from Bakersfield to Merced. Neither city wants to go to the other.
That's exactly right. One of our arguments is that the need threshold for high-speed rail has not been met. And we believe the need is based on very flawed data, ridership numbers that are based on cockeyed population growth numbers. We have the BNSF coming through here, okay? If our economy is going to increase, we need to increase the capacity for freight trains. That's what moves. That's what grows commerce. That's what jobs are made of. Is when you can move large amounts of goods. Freight is great for that. As far as roads go, this is going to take away so much money from our roads. There's a new tax that our good governor just installed a couple years ago. It's a tax on big rigs to keep the roads repaired from the extra weight on those big rigs. Well, they're crowing now that the interest on these bonds that they're going to have to issue for this first phase of the high-speed rail won't really cost us any money, because they're going to steal that tax from the big rigs that revenue and pay the interest on it. Now I ask you, who's going to maintain the roads? We need more roads. We need to maintain the infrastructure that we have, and this project is going to put at risk all those things.
Our guests in studio, Jeff Taylor from Save Bakersfield Committee and Marvin Dean from Kern Supporters for High Speed Rail, talking about high speed rail. That was a point, by the way, Jeff, that we brought up with Michael Rubio, was the fact that we're looking at we're looking at money that we desperately need for the roads going to a high-speed rail. Marvin, I have another question for you. Is this thing my big concern again is the funding, okay?
Right.
And I've ridden on. I'm originally from the East Coast, and I've ridden on the trains in the East Coast, and it's a pretty good setup the way they have it there. And I'm not even sure if they run on the black. I was going to try to check that, and I didn't get a chance to. I'm pretty sure they do. But is this thing ever going to be able to run on the black? To me, it looks like something we're going to be subsidizing forever, because I don't see there being enough ridership to make this thing run in the black.
Right. Well, before I say that, let me just say something about, first of all, I didn't mean, and I think Jeff and his group is very sincere in the concerns they raise. So when I meant about the president, some people are using this as a political candidate ball to affect the president, I'm talking Republican Party, the party leadership, the politics of it, not the people on the ground. Yeah, the people on the ground that's going to be affected. They, they have real concerns. So that I didn't want to say that they were taking those positions because of that. Right. But now, in terms of the whether this thing ever run into black, well, I can't speak to that, but I can only tell you what I'm hearing from the conversation with the high-speed rail people. They're saying that studies have been shown that a high-speed rail system like this in Europe and other places around the country have shown, not around the country, around the world, have shown that these things do break even without a subsidy. Now, like somebody knows, Caltran and most of the transportation systems they have in this state is subsidized. So in terms of whether it'll ever be out of the black, that's way beyond my pay grade.
I've seen that. I've seen that study on Europe. Well, you're connecting Paris and Brussels and Amsterdam and Rome. Here we're connecting Merced and Fresno and
well, hopefully when this thing
and,
is built out, it'll be from the Southern California area. However, before they go into Southern California, because it'll tie into some of those other transportation systems there, it'll be tied in. One may not be a true one seat ride all the way, but it'll still pick up passenger, and then it'll go into the Bay Area. So I think you're looking at the entire system when it's built out, but doing these segments, no, this thing will not probably.
There's going to be segments of it that'll be profitable, I think. Like, you're looking at a segment in the Bay Area that'll be profitable, when in Southern California might be, but by and large, I don't see this thing making any money.
Hey, when I see private investors come up with money, I'll be in support of high-speed rail.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Nobody's going to ride this thing. If they do, it'll be if they decide to do it the most economical way possible, and that is you can get on a train in San Francisco and you can go to LA Central Station without one stop, okay, in a short amount of time. But you still have to understand that people are going to have to drive to and from the station.
Right.
They're going to have to rent a place to keep their vehicle. When they get to destination, they're going to have to rent a taxi or a car, and it's going to be very customer unfriendly.
But those things are all good. That builds business.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But does it cut down on greenhouse gas? I don't think so. And it's very expensive.
So, Marvin, you had a project you wanted to talk about.
First of all, I want to say again, you guys, the good thing about this, people, I've heard at least two sides of an issue. Mm-hmm. I think we all want what's best. Again, I have no concern or no issue with those that have raised the issues about why they're opposed to it. A lot of those things are very valid. But my concern, if this thing's going to happen again, I want to be very clear, is that we benefit in this community the best we can from this project. So for that reason, we've arranged to bring all the key people that's going to be involved in the leadership of making the decision.
Go ahead. Yeah,
and it's important that people that are concerned come get firsthand information and also ask the tough questions. They'll be here. Because a lot of these things you ask me, are way below my pay grade. But you're going to have Vice Richards, Tom Richards again, chairman on the board of directors. You're going to have the CEO. You're going to have the project manager, and you're going to have the small business advocate that has made these commitments for the 30% goal. It's going to be on next Wednesday at the Rice Bowl.
September
That's
26th.
September the 26th, and it's going to be from 12:30 to 2:30. Then a private reception for the business community, and our elected officials will have FaceTime with these people from 2:30 to 3:30, and then there'll be an open working session for the small business or the business community.
Correct.
How can we be included?
Okay.
And that's going to be from 3 to 4:30.
Marvin, Jeff, I want to thank you both for being
And I
here.
thank you
You're
for
welcome.
putting this
Appreciate
on.
this.
And I want to thank Jeff for having a civil debate. Even though we disagree, we still had a very good time, I
Good.
think. I enjoyed the conversation.
We'll see you in 100.
Same to you, Marty.
We'll see you in 167 hours and taking care of business on Kern Radio News Talk 1180.